All right, so many of the young people of today, and even the ones who are so young, they won't remember the fact Nelson Mandela had made national headlines after being released from prison. What could have been interpreted as a wrongful conviction, as he stood against oppression, segregation, and global structure tactics. Pretty much, right? I just got done looking at Walter Meyer's video, like a couple minutes from being finished. And, I watched the people, I saw the people. A bunch of whites are there in South Africa, Cape Town. Um, it's very dangerous when you don't see the repeatability of what you've already been through and the voice who was to tell you, what to do and what not to do in order not to repeat that history. It's very dangerous when those voices aren't here anymore. It's very dangerous when those people, their counterparts, when they're not in a position of power to guide after the voice is gone. So you have him, right? And he's fighting against oppression. White men, white women coming into their government, you know, influencing the children, influencing the women. Where does this leave him in his motion of psyche? Where does this leave him in his thought patterns, his psychology, his sociology? Does it make him weak? Does it make him strong? He spent 18 years in a cell, out of par than more than 20 other years. This is what I'm saying. Like, young people today, they don't know how good they got it. You know, you hear your mom, she's irate at you. Maybe this day you didn't take out the garbage. Maybe this day you didn't wash the dishes. You know, Now you're out in the street taking that anger, that lack of love she didn't give you onto other people, onto people who look like you. And this is America's problem. America don't have a leader like Nelson Mandela. I've listened to his speeches in the past. We've all saw the speeches that was on the DVD of Malcolm X. You know, we saw him speaking to the masses. The videos that you see on YouTube, right? The archives, the message that he left, those videos aren't always going to be around. They're going to be sealed. And when they're sealed, you're not going to be able to listen to them again until your next lifetime, maybe, right? He's going to be an afterthought, and he's already an afterthought to the youth, because the youth, imagine what he meant to, the people who came up in the 70s and the 80s. You know, Imagine what he meant to the people who came up in the 90s. He's not going to mean very much to the people who are coming up in the 2000s, 2010s, 2020s. He's not going to mean much because, you know, his struggle for equality and sovereignty is going to be outshadowed by those who have later on come and influenced the politics of Cape Town, of South Africa. Ramaphosa, he's a leader with a backbone, and you wonder that when you're representing a people, right, and your people are, Democrats, because most countries are democratic led, they're democracies, given the fact that, when you're a Democrat, right, it means to cry out. It means to cry that you need help from your mother and father. So this is where you have, the Europeans coming and they need help from the black gates of society, the cheer makers, the chairpersons, the hidden families, what's now become a broad view to the entire world, the look of a 3D globe. At one point in time, you didn't know who was in the world. I remember coming up in the 2000s, right? We didn't know that Melanesians existed. We didn't know that, you know, South Africans existed. We just knew the guy down the street, the woman down the street, Tyrone and Brittany. Those are the people that we knew, right? Now you see, the kids are coming up, they're forgetting their language, they're forgetting their names, they're forgetting their national origins. And some of them, they just don't have any of this at all, given the fact that, their mother or father married into a European race and had children with the European race. And you see this a lot in South Africa. Nelson Mandela, he's going to be missed. That voice that he had, that ringing tone, is going to be missed. Because he's not going to be here to guide the politics of South Africa into the direction that kind of, incites the fact that, it's an apology given to the atrocities he suffered, having been in prison. They almost owe him this, to reverse the politics and to reverse the effects of apartheid, So this is all I want to say. If you're ever, on Watermeyer's channel, look at his video on South Africa and Cape Town. Great peace, Yakoki.